Calaroga Shark Media.
Hi there, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news, a daily briefing on stand-up comedy, comedians, and the comedy industry. It's WrestleMania weekend, and Tony Hinchcliffe is bringing Kill Tony to WrestleMania. That's right, tonight, following the conclusion of Night 1 of WrestleMania 42, Tony Hinchcliffe will have a lineup consisting of Tony Hinchcliffe, current WWE superstars, WWE legends, well-known comedians, and surprise guests. It's Kill Tony WrestleMania. 9 p.m. Pacific at Dolby Live at Park MGM. It's the second year in a row Tony has been part of WrestleMania. Last year's underwhelming The Roast of WrestleMania featuring Tony Hinchcliffe and friends. That featured comedy performances by WWE stars like Paul Heyman, R-Truth, The Miz, and others. I think they kind of buried that, if I'm remembering correctly. I feel like that was underwhelming, and I'm not even sure they even shared any clips on that. So this is a reboot. Just go down the middle and do Kill Tony. Should be a lot of fun. Esquire caught up with Bowen Yang, who said, most of my time on SNL, I never thought of myself as a star, even after the Emmy nominations, because my point of origin in SNL was this national story on cancel culture. That's right. Remember, he was kind of paired up in the news with one Shane Gillis there for a while. Lorne Michaels said to me, the last thing I want you to do is be the poster child for racial harmony. It was a wonderful thing to impart on me, but I think I also took it too far. He said, I love Weekend Update. It's my favorite place on the show. The other thing SNL taught me, if it bombs, that's okay. We're going to move on to the next one. If you get it this time, there's another chance at bat. The LA Times caught up with Sheng Wang. His new special is called Purple. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to love it. But for Sheng Wang, purple is more than a color. It's a way of being. Ali Wong, longtime friend, director of both his specials and kind of his comedy guru here, told the LA Times, comics universally adore Sheng because he's a true artist. He's all about finding the perfect wording for a joke. He's all about the process and the work and does not have a single thirsty bone in his body. I honestly can't believe he's even doing this LA Times profile piece because outside of stand-up, he just wants to spend his time exploring botanical gardens and eating great food with the people he loves. He's my best friend in comedy and the godfather to my children. My daughter once threw away her Invisalign by accident because it was wrapped in a tissue, and Shang spent about an hour digging it out of the trash. The LA Times said to Shang, a lot of people got introduced to you in 2022 when your first special, Sweet and Juicy, premiered. How's it going? I paraphrased their question a little bit. Shang said, it's been very exciting. It's been a fun ride. I think when you first retire an act after the special comes out and then the act is done, there's a sense of like, there's no way I'm going to write another one. I'm feeling that now after Purple came out. There's supposed to be another one after this at some point, and it feels so daunting and big to me, but I just love doing the craft. It's kind of a natural thing for me to notice things, and then eventually things fall into place. But it's been a really fun journey from the first one to the second one, because after the first one, all of a sudden there's people wanting to come out to the shows. I'm selling tickets. That's all pretty new to me and the scale of people coming out. So it's my first major tour, and I go around the country, all around the world. I'm playing these theaters. I'm playing shows where people come out to see me specifically. So that's all quite new, and it's very exciting because it kind of makes you feel safer and freer to be more yourself. So that's kind of been the last 2.5 years for me. Good instincts here by Shang. He said, one thing I wanted to steer clear away from or just be wary of is getting too, like, especially with the outfit and the hair, too culty. And Purple, as far as the name goes, it was just a fun name. I mean, I love the color. There's a joke in the special that references a purple toothbrush. And there's a reference to my aura based on the fact that I'm cooking with shallots. There's just sort of a vague purplish themes throughout the special. And it also represents strength and royalty. And to me, the second special, I feel like there's ability of growth and leveling up, and I thought Purple would be a fun way to go with the title. Chelsea Handler said, I'm here for women and I'm here for myself. I've never been very thirsty for a man or a partner. You got to really kind of get my attention for me to pay attention in a serious way, because otherwise it's a bunch of casual encounters. You know what I mean? I like that. I like traveling a lot. I like hooking up with guys. I don't like to get too serious. I don't want someone in my space all the time. I'm just not interested in that. Right now, she doesn't view marriage as something she needs to or aspires to, and adds, at some point I might go, okay, I'm 50 years old, I might as well go get married. What could go wrong at this point? I don't care about marriage. I don't care about that. I feel like that's a very patriarchal thing anyway. You're kind of like a property a little bit. Former Daily Show head writer and Colbert Report co-creator Ben Carlin predicts how Stephen Colbert, the Star Trek ruiner, will end his late-night run. Carlin said he gets to go off justifiably, not as a martyr, but certainly as someone who kind of stood his ground and stayed true to who he was. The fact that there's this built-in sunset for him, to me, it's kind of a dream come true, but I don't know if he would necessarily see it that way. Obviously, it's a little icky the way things are shifting right now. It doesn't feel good in terms of comedy and the political environment of where these worlds used to feel somewhat a little more separated. I think Steven's capable of killing it with kindness. I think what he doesn't say is sometimes better than what could be said. At the end of the day, they paid him a ton of money. He got to do a version of the show that he wanted to do for a long time. Carlin said he prefers the host's older work, explaining, I have a soft spot for the Colbert Report, not just because I was there at the beginning, because it felt like it was really trying to do something different in the late night space. When you go to these big institutional shows, yeah, there's some room to kind of fuss with the details a little bit, but ultimately you're kind of a slave to the format. Carlin recalled Comedy Central saying of the report, we don't know if this thing is going to work long term. We think it's really funny, but is that character of staying power, or are people just going to get sick of it? He's such a good man that he was allowed to be bat crazy and say horrible things. The success of that show existed in the tension between the absurdity of the character and the reality of his radiating decency. There was so much about it that felt kind of ahead of its time. The Moontower Comedy Festival wrapping up today. If you're down in Austin, some of the shows you can consider: Carolyn Ray, 6:30 at the Sunset Strip. I like 6:30. That's great. I can go to a show and go to bed kind of early. Can I tell you, last week on Saturday, I was up at 6 in the morning, and my daughter had a soccer game which was streaming from the West Coast. So I watched 2 soccer games, a bunch of TV, and then by like 10:45, I had been sitting in front of the TV for like 7 hours, including the soccer games, and I was just like, I'm just going to bed. I felt so old. It wasn't even 11 o'clock on a Saturday. Nish Kumar is at the State Theater tonight at 7. Beth Stelling at Cap City at 7. Sarah Sherman and Meg Statler at the Paramount at 9:30. Looks like the big show tonight. Jay Jordan at 10:30 at Sunset Strip. And if you want to head it over to Antone's for the closing night party, that's at 11 o'clock. And that's a wrap on this year's Moontower Comedy Festival. And let's check in one last time with the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, which wraps up on the 19th, which is tomorrow, but probably today if you are in Melbourne. And if you're not on your way to Melbourne, you're not going to make either of these shows. So let me play some clips for you. Daniel Connell's show is called Prairie Dog.
I'll tell you about a serious relationship I'm in at the moment. Give us a cheer if you're in a serious relationship. 5 people. Cool. I'm in a serious one with my wife at the moment. That's ticking along all right. We've been together for 13 years, my wife and I. We're at the point of our relationship, we're starting to lose the spice in the bedroom, to be honest. Anybody else doing that? Yeah, I never believed it when I was a kid. It does happen. I never believed it when I was a kid. My auntie used to tell me that, but it's true. It does happen. It happens. Yeah, get a couple of West Coast coolers into it, and she'd tell us everything when we were kids. My wife and I have resorted to doing the role play in the bedroom. Anyone else doing the role play? Give us a cheer. No, all right, no worries. We're doing the role play. Like sometimes I'll get my wife to dress up as a famous Australian sporting hero. Gets me going. Sometimes she'll get me to play the role of a man who moves into a motel for a month.
That was a lot of fun. And one more. Jeff Green's show is called Jeff Jokes.
Lovely to be in the beautiful city of Melbourne with your trams and your bipolar weather. Because I love the anomalies of Australia. Because Australia's a dichotomy. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but it sounds impressive when you say it. Australia's a dichotomy. What do you mean? I'm leaving now. No, tell us what you mean. Because you're lovely, warm-hearted, kind people. Then you get into your cars, you become fire-breathing, psychopathic maniacs, don't you? I'm terrified driving in Australia. My friend says in Germany, they drive as fast as they want on the Autobahn. We should have that in Australia. I said, no, we shouldn't. You see, the Germans drive very expensive cars with robotic precision. That's how it works. In Australia, you're descended from Anglos and Celts, with a few Asians and Mediterraneans thrown in. The consequences of which, the roads are a cauldron of chaos. You've got tradies on the inside doing 100 k's an hour, drug-addled truckies on the outside, some nearly dead grey nomad in the middle at 30 k's with his face set to... Weaving through all this is a P-plater that's fitted a McLaren exhaust to his Toyota Starlet. He's got 5 friends in the back mooning people and shouting homophobic slurs. Behind him is a teenage princess in her dad's BMW X5 that wants to show that women can multitask by driving, texting, putting a lipstick on in the rearview mirror and crashing the car all at the same time. On the inside is some toothless battler whose car's held together with gaffer tape and hope. Imagine saying to that lot, go as fast as you want, everybody.
That'll put a wrap on the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia this weekend for 420 weekend, if that's your thing, Weeding Out the Stoned is at SideQuest Theater in Center City. The live show blends stand-up, improv, and game show elements. 8 comedians competing while the audience tries to spot the one person who's not high. Host Alex Grubbard puts performers through a mix of quick-thinking challenges, strange prompts, and intentionally chaotic games designed to expose who's clear-headed. I love it. Some hits test memory and focus. Others lean into improv. A few are ridiculous on purpose. Weeding Out the Stoned is 7 o'clock at the SideQuest Theater in Philadelphia tonight. Sounds like fun. $20 at the door. You should go. And that is your comedy news for today. Catch you tomorrow.